from Eclectic Images, and thank you for joining me today. Today's video, I'm going to take one of our regular stamps and make it into a Christmas stamp and make a Christmas card, just for the fun of it, because it's getting to be that time of year. So let's have a look at what we're going to be using. So I've chosen to use the Dreamcatcher Mandala. Now, any of our Mandala stamps can be turned into Christmas baubles, but I happen to really like this one, so I'm going to have a play with this one today. The big thing to make it into a Christmas card is add some of the pine needle stamping with it. So it looks like your mandala is now a Christmas bauble. And then I'm going to use this set here, which is the Merry and Bright Greetings set. So this set was designed to match with the Christmas Merry and Bright, which is bigger words, and then this is smaller ones that can be used on the inside of your card, or they can be collaged on the outside, or, as I'm going to do today, I'm going to use one of these as the main greeting on the card. Our inks are the VersaFine Clear Nocturne and Shady Lane. I'll be colouring with the Pentel watercolour pencils and a little bit of Gansai Tambi, probably just the white gold, but you know, you never know once I start playing. Now, when I'm doing the mandala, you do need some glossy accents, and I'll probably add some stickles in there as well, but I'm not sure what colour at the moment. So we'll keep those to one side till I decide what I'm going to do, which one I'm going to do. Okay, so I have started this card already so that it would have a chance to dry, but I'm going to just show you how I built up the layers. So in my stamp press, so I first laid the stamps on the card just to make sure that I'd left enough room for the little gem at the bottom. It's nothing worse than having it on your card and then when you go to stamp the gem it doesn't fit. But remember when you're laying them like this that there is that little bit of a border around there, the base layer of the stamp. So you've got to sort of stack that on there as it will stamp. And then again that's got that little bit there. So I'm thinking go up a little bit and that should be about right. Okay, of course it's just paper, so if you don't get it right the first time, turn your page over. So then I've picked it up with the stamp press, inked it and stamped it, put that one to one side, and then you can position your gems in. Now make sure it's designed for the top gems to really meet in with that rope circle so that the bottom ones come and actually meet up with it. If you're very careful about just touching it with the top gems, the bottom ones probably won't meet. So be confident enough to just push it up that little bit more. Again, pick it up with the platform, ink it and stamp it. And then our last little bit is to pop in our little gem. Okay, now while we've got this all in the platform, let's actually stamp our greeting because this is going to be a little bit tricky to get it both straight and to get it exactly where I want it. So I'm going to lay it here on the card first and maneuver it around till I'm happy with it. I've got the card lined up on the grid there and butted up firmly against the side so I know the card's straight. So we can now pick this up with the platform, and as I put the platform down I can just check that that stamp looks like it's sitting straight with the grid line on the platform. And it's a little bit tricky because the font is actually all over the place. But to me, that looks like it is in line with that line. So I pick it up, I just make sure that this is still in the place I want it. And then we'll ink up with the, which colour? We might actually ink up with the Shady Lane. So a nice tap across. Making sure I've inked the whole stamp. And with this platform, I can actually let it sit there for a moment. Make sure I'm still in the right spot and then push down. I'm using the VersaFine Clear ink, which is a pigment ink, so I'll just hold it for a moment, make sure it all soaks into the card, then lift up and make sure I'm happy with the image. Now I'm not quite so happy with the M there, so just checking that my card hasn't moved, and I will just ink that. The rest looks good, so I'm just going to ink up the mini. And we'll just stamp that one again. Press it down. That's better. Okay. Now a quick clean for that before I take it off the platform. And pop it to one side. Okay, let's do some colouring. So the colouring I want to do, why I haven't embossed the image, whereas often I would emboss it, but the colouring that I want to do, if you're working with coloured pencils, you can actually sometimes chip off your embossing when you're trying to get the pencil right up to the edge of it. So you're actually better off, if you're doing coloured pencils, to just stamp with a flat ink like the Nocturne. And I'm still trying to choose what colours I'm going to use, or whether I'm going to use a combination, but we'll start with some blues. And we're going to colour the middle very light. And the same as when I'm blending my inks, I colour a little bit further than where I want the colour to be. So I'll colour this blue in here and then overlap it a bit back over the other colour and take it a bit further than where I want it. So colour it where you want it, shade it in a bit and shade it out a bit. Now if you're not sure about the centre bit that it's blended, just come back in with your pencil, your lighter colour pencil, and just blend over those edges. And then we add the deeper colour right in at the base there. You can see why I'd pre-stamped the image, because doing the colouring could take us a little while. So we get a lovely 3D look to it by giving it that highlight in the middle. Now I'm going to try and colour it fairly quickly so that I'm not keeping you waiting too long to see where this card goes. And then darker. So I'm colouring it fairly firmly where I want the colour to be, and then putting less weight on the pencil as I blend it. Just a bit of the light over the top just to blend all those colours in together. Now, colouring in with pencils is so relaxing, and it's actually quite documented now how therapeutic it is. And I don't think this is how to do it if you're looking for it for therapy. Therapy, that sounds awful. If you're looking for it for relaxation. I'm really trying to rattle through it as quick as I can so that this video doesn't go on for too long. So if I was doing it to really be relaxing, I'd actually be taking it a bit easier, watching that I was getting the blending really good. Making sure I wasn't going over any edges. Because the thing of doing it for relaxation is that you want it to take some time. That's the idea of it, that it's about slowing down and chilling a bit. That's not what we want to do in a video. So we're just going to rattle on a little bit quicker. But as soon as I start getting a few of them done, you'll start to see that effect of the light going into the dark at the edges. And what a wonderful, I said effect, I'm going to say effect again. What a wonderful effect it creates. Okay, a couple more. So now with watercolour pencils, you can just use them like a normal coloured pencil. So we can just leave it like this. Or, as I'll do on the next band, you can actually use it with some watercolours. And you can use it with your aqua wash brush, your water brush, to blend the colours in more together. Now quite often if I'm colouring with watercolour pencils, I like to actually colour on a bit of a palette or pick up colour with my water brush off the pencil and then paint with that. But here where I'm working in a small area, I'm not likely to get pencil lines, and I'm looking at getting a nice blend, so there's very few pencil lines. I find if I'm colouring a larger area that I often get marks from the pencil. I know technically as an artist, most water pencil artists would colour their picture first with the pencils and then just go over it with water. But for me, I quite often still get marks from the pencils by doing that. So that's why I tend to do the trick where I pick it up directly off the pencil. But as I said, because this is a small area, that's not going to be such a problem. So I can get the lovely blending happening with a richness of colour with the pencils. It's hard to get that richness if you're just if you're watercolouring the colour on. Okay, so let's try another band. And here we'll go light here. My brain is madly going, is what I planned actually going to work here? I think it is. So I'm just, because of the way I've picked up the pattern here, I'm just working with the 2 pencils rather than the 3. And what I'm going to do with this one is then come over it with the water brush, and just to spice it up a little, I'm actually going to use some of the Tambi metallic paints with it as well, which will really give it a sparkle and some highlights. So I'm colouring my medium one in, just overlapping it a bit over the lighter colour. And it does, if you're working just almost a tone on tone. So I was wondering about doing some of the colouring in greens and some of the colouring in some aquas, but actually by doing it all in blue, it does create this tone on tone look, which is really nice. So we're getting layers of the same toning with the light. I'm not going to colour in those bits. I'm going to leave those the creamy colour of the cotton blend card, because it will actually, it'll be less complicated. Does that make sense? I feel it will actually make the card look more effective to all be in the tones of one colour. That's not to say that next time I do this technique that I don't go, oh, I'm going to do purples and blues and greens and make it wildly colourful. It's one of those things where it depends on how you're feeling on the day. Okay, so let's just get a little bit of the darker blue middle there, and I think that is going to be enough colouring. Okay, so I'll pick up now with the water brush and the Tambis, and yes, we'll just use the opal because I'm really wanting to make it look more highlighted. So I've just given it a bit of a spray to activate it. Mix up a little bit of the paint there. Just checking on my paper towel that I've picked up some nice amount of metallic. Okay, I don't actually want it too wet because I'm working in such a small area. So I'm going to pop it over the top of the light blue and then just blend it back into the richer blue and just work around the card like that. So what I'm hoping to do is pick up that, make that light blue even more highlighted. And I'm starting off in the centre each time. That's a little bit too much water on that one. Just dab it back a little bit. So I'm working from the centre and pushing back into the colour because I don't want to drag the darker colour over my highlight because I'll then lose that highlight. So by starting each time on the lightest part and then pushing into the richer, the deeper colour, or medium colour as it was. And I mean this would work on the outer section as well. I just wanted to have the difference of one gone over with a water brush and one not, just for you to see that you can do it either way. and also just to see how pretty it is once we add a little bit of metallic in. So of course you can always have a little bit of metallic and a bit of glitter for Christmas, can't you? Maybe that's why we love making Christmas cards so much, because you've just got an excuse to add glitter and bling. And Matthew's just sort of going, oh yeah. He doesn't really understand the glitter and the bling, although he's very good at admiring whatever I've been working on, even if he actually doesn't want to make cards himself and get covered in glitter. Okay, so that's enough colouring, I think. I'm happy with that. I'll just put the Kansai Tambies to one side. So you see, if I hold it up to the light and we get a nice close-up, you can see when you're looking at one angle, you'll see the shades of blue, and then you look at another angle and you'll get the metallic shine showing more. I hope we're seeing that. Okay, now let's just bring in our scratch pad. And this time I've got my stamp just on a normal acrylic block, and I'm going to mask the main part of the mandala there so that we can stamp our branch in a way that it comes in around behind the mandala and makes it really look like a Christmas bauble on a tree. Except that I'm on a big acrylic block and I've hit the edge of my scratch pad. So I'll just move everything down a bit, and I'm going to get a bit of extra push with my stamp barren tool. These are designed for using with your stamping platforms, but I find sometimes with my bigger stamps on a block it's quite useful as well. Now let's just bring a little bit more in. Excuse the pump in the background. Let's bring a little bit in across the top here. I'm going to give a fair push because I've got that mask there. And I think we'll have a few more fronds just down the side. I don't have to ink the whole stamp because I'm only using the edge bits. Okay, and suddenly our bauble is coming out of a Christmas tree. Very cool. Now we'll just grab the same ink pad and just give a bit of a swipe around the edge. I'm just letting a little bit come onto the card. Alright, and now I didn't colour the gem down the bottom, so let's bring our blue pencils back into play. And when you're colouring a gem, I'll just move the scratch paint out of the way so it's not distracting. When you're colouring a gem, it can be really good to leave some areas of white. And also to have some lighter and darker facets to it. So some bits you colour them in completely, and others you leave a little bit of light on them. Let's just add a little bit of darker blue in there to a couple of them. Now I'll bring in the water brush. And we'll just soften some of that pencil off a little bit, but we keep making sure we keep the little lighter areas, because that's what makes the gem look like it's sparkling, if it's got some light areas in amongst the colour. That was almost too much of a spin. Okay. With our droppers, we'll use a bit of light and a bit of dark. blend them all in together. If I'm getting too much dark, I just push it back. If I need a bit more, I can drag it down or drag it up, whichever I think it needs. So you don't want it all just to be the one colour unless you're getting to the really small gems where you really haven't got much choice. It's just going to be blue. But the ones where we've got a chance to have a bit of a play, it's really good to do that, to have a bit of a play. Just making sure I haven't picked up ink on my hand. Okay, a little bit of a blend there. Beautiful. Now the thing that'll finish those off will be the bit of glossy accents, but I'll just add in some glitter first. And I'm still not sure what colour to use. I still haven't made up my mind. So I'm going to just get a bit of paper that I was testing things on previously and just pop a little bit of, what have I got there? Unicorn. Yeah, I think that'll be perfect. I think the green and the red might be a little bit too strong. So I'm just going to, with this, not get bubbles. Get rid of the bubbles. Okay, that's glitter coming out now. So let's add this to our other droppers. We can do a little bit of a drag up the chains. So this is where your more translucent glitters are good because it's not too heavy. If you did this with the red, it would be a little bit too much. Oh, did I say that? Did I say you could have too much glitter? I think I did. Oh dear. Often when I'm doing this particular card, I'll do liquid pearls as well because the pearls can look really good on those extra little droppers and also on the beads on the droppers, and also where the beads join onto the rope part of the dream catcher. But we're just doing it all with glitter this time. It looks so pretty. Some glitter in the centre. Well, you know what? Let's put the glossy accents in. Now with my glossy accents, I've taken the larger bottle and then I've popped it into one of these needle nose bottles, which gives you a little bit more accuracy when you're popping it on. And once it's on, just smooth it right to the edges and try not to get bubbles if you can. If you do get bubbles, you can just prick them with a pin. So I'm trying not to lift the nozzle off at all, and then I just lifted it off because I had got a bubble there, so I'm just trying to take that out. So I'm going to do the glossy accents on all of the larger baubles that we've coloured in the blue. I think Matthew's telling me that I'm nearly out of time, so I'm just having another thought that I think that is beautiful for the mandala and that's enough, but I think the actual Christmas tree needs a bit of sparkle. So we're going to put some red just so it's got some other Christmas decorations happening. We could also add glitter over our Merry Christmas verse, but I think it's quite all right without, even though it would look very pretty with some glitter. So that was Christmas red stickles I was using, and this is the Garden State. I'm just trying to make it look random. So now we've got Christmas lights on our tree and a beautiful bauble. Hope you like that one. I do. I probably will come in and add a little bit of glossy accents just around that bit in the middle, but that could also be fine just like that once you layer it up onto a card. So that's taking one of our mandala stamps and making it into a Christmas stamp. Hope you enjoyed that. I hope it challenges you to have a look at what you've got on your shelf and what else that you could turn into a Christmas tree stamp. Thanks for watching. See you next time.